Dawn editorial about climate change. The difficult vocabulary would be at the end of this video along with the summary of it. The COP29 Climate Summit in Baku has stretched past the Friday deadline into overtime, with negotiations still underway at the time of writing. Although the final outcome is not likely to be known for some time, suffice it to say that what started with a bang may end in a whimper. The central sticking point at the summit was the establishment of a new collective quantified goal for climate finance over which the global north and global south continue to remain at an impasse. Developed countries, historically responsible for the bulk of GHG emissions, were expected to commit to a robust financial framework. Instead, they stalled, with the draft proposals offering placeholder numbers and prioritizing private financing over public grants. Reportedly, the wealthy nations have agreed to raise the climate finance figure to $300 billion, while the developing nations want a bigger contribution. The amount proposed by the former is still in huge contrast to the minimum of $1 a year needed by 2030 just to meet Paris Agreement goals. It is particularly concerning given that Pakistan alone faces a climate finance gap of $348 billion by 2030. Whatever the outcome, there will likely remain a deep disconnect between climate reality and wealthy nations' commitments. The fact that developing nations like Sierra Leone were thinking of walking out of the deal speaks volumes for how shortchanged they feel. Besides how much must be paid, the question that emerged was who must pay. European nations insist that high-emitting economies such as China and Gulf states share the burden. However, the global north cannot deflect responsibility for historical emissions. Meanwhile, the recent election of Donald Trump, who believes climate change is a hoax, as US president, cast a pall over the talks. Some of the wealthy nations believe the world's biggest economy will want nothing to do with the finance goal during Mr. Trump's tenure. Pakistan's delegation, led by negotiator Arif Gohir, aptly criticized the draft agreement as disappointing. Our diplomatic efforts at the summit, including hosting over 40 events, demonstrate our commitment to global climate action. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif reiterated the pressing need for grants, not loans, to avoid deepening debt traps. Domestically, Pakistan has taken steps to address climate vulnerabilities, unveiling its national climate finance strategy and launching the Recharge Pakistan initiative to manage flood risks through ecosystem-based solutions. However, these ambitious plans require substantial financial backing. While the eventual target may unlock some funds, accessing them through the current maze of red tape will remain a challenge. As the nations continue to argue, the international community must recognize that climate finance is not merely about numbers. It is about enabling vulnerable nations to survive and adapt to a crisis they did little to create. For now, we remain far from this essential goal. Difficult vocabulary with meanings and example sentences. 1. Sticking point meaning: a specific issue or obstacle causing difficulty in reaching an agreement. Sentence: the division of responsibilities remained the sticking point in their negotiation. 2. Impasse, meaning: a situation in which no progress is possible due to disagreement. Sentence: the talks reached an impasse because neither side was willing to compromise. 3. Placeholder, meaning: a temporary or symbolic item used until a definitive solution is available. Sentence: the report included placeholder figures that would be finalized after further discussions. 4. Shortchanged, meaning: treated unfairly or given less than what is deserved. Sentence: the employees felt shortchanged when they received lower bonuses than expected. 5. Deflect meaning: to divert attention or responsibility away from oneself. Sentence: she tried to deflect criticism by blaming the delays on her team. 6. Pall, meaning: a dark cloud or atmosphere, often symbolizing gloom or negativity. Sentence: the sudden resignation of the CEO cast a pall over the company's future plans. 7. Aptly meaning: in a way that is appropriate or suitable to the situation. Sentence: the lawyer aptly pointed out the contradictions in the witness's testimony. 8. Red tape, meaning: excessive bureaucracy or complicated procedures that hinder action or decision-making. Sentence. The project was delayed for months due to the endless red tape involved in getting approvals. 9. Tenure. Meaning, the period during which someone holds a particular position or office. Sentence. The reforms introduced during her tenure as mayor transformed the city. 10. Substantial. Meaning, considerable in quantity, importance, or value. Sentence. The organization received a substantial donation to support its climate initiatives. Short summary. The COP29 Climate Summit in Baku extended beyond its deadline due to unresolved disagreements, particularly on setting a new global climate finance target. Wealthy nations proposed raising the climate finance figure to $300 billion, falling significantly short of the $1 trillion needed annually by 2030. The gap highlights a disconnect between the financial contributions of developed nations and the actual needs of vulnerable countries like Pakistan, which alone faces a $348 billion funding shortfall by 2030. Furthermore, debates on responsibility for emissions, coupled with political uncertainty from Donald Trump's recent election, overshadowed the summit. Despite Pakistan's efforts to advocate for grants and launch national climate initiatives, accessing funds remains hindered by bureaucratic challenges. Ultimately, the summit's progress underscores the urgent need for equitable and actionable climate finance solutions.